fundamentally like people. And for all the uh, history of humanity and our ability to do terrible things to each other, that almost always arises from being led toward darkness,
Mm.
as opposed to you choosing darkness as your default setting as a person. And we were led toward darkness for these past 4 or 5 years. And then that was like commodified, that darkness. And that was seen as um, a successful gambit. And politicians, or certainly political strategists, I believe, are not particularly imaginative, much like television programmers. If it worked for that person, it'll work for me. And so right now we're feeling the backsplash, you know, the the it's not an echo because it's got force behind it.
Yeah.
Like the wave that hits the seawall and comes back in with this double force and higher peaks. We're seeing a critical incursions of evil in our political marketplace. And I'm not sure of how many of those words actually fit that sentence, but you get the vibe
I
of what I'm
do.
trying
I
to say
do.
here. But I actually think that without the actual central leadership toward the darkness, this would not be happening. I think it is not an entirely an American problem, because as my son pointed out to me, well, then why is there a rise of totalitarianism or fascistic tendencies in all around the world
Everywhere, yeah.
right now, and or at least in every time zone, in every hemisphere, if not in every country. And I think it is again not a new problem, or rather, the fascistic tendency is not a new problem. We have new crises that fascism is a lazy response to. It is the lazy man's political ideology,
Yeah.
because it is only about appetites. It is not about values.
Yeah.
And so I think this too shall pass. Will it get terrible? Is it going to get worse? I don't know. It's not inconceivable that people like, you know, Gozar or Kevin McCarthy, and I do not see the difference between the two of them at this point.
Mm.
Because someone who knows better, okay, let's get back to your Jesuit training. Someone who knows better but does the same thing is actually in a state of greater sin than someone like Gozar, who apparently is mentally ill.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, of course.
I have more sympathy.
Yeah, the distinction without a difference at this point. It really is.
Right. I mean, Gozar probably is insane, allegedly, if any lawyers are listening. So I've heard satire.
Right behind
Obviously,
it.
I'm making a
Just a
joke here,
joke. Just a joke.
just a joke. Or a joke, no, just a jokes. And the not unlikely next speaker should know better and does know better, and therefore is far more guilty of sticking a knife in our democracy than some mentally deficient former dentist.